So, first of all, thank you that you agreed with this meeting, with this interview. And first, can you introduce yourself? Like, who are you and like this?
Okay, my name is Samar and I'm a revert Muslim. I'm born and raised in the UK and I'm currently living in Ghana in West Africa at the moment. Yep,
Mm-hmm.
and to have a podcast as well called Niqabi
Yeah,
Diaries.
tell us about the podcast, what you do.
And basically, I have a podcast called the Niqabi Diaries, and it's especially for Muslim women who have experience wearing the niqab. So that so they can share their stories and experiences wearing it, or the reasons that they chose to wear it, or whatever the case may be. So yeah,
Mm.
that's basically it.
Yeah, it's pretty amazing. And I was in your podcast, right? We have to
Yes, you
mention
was,
it.
mashallah.
So, yeah, so I really recommend it, highly recommend
Barakallah
it.
feekum.
Okay, so actually, how did you get in touch with Egypt? Or why
Um,
did you, yeah, tell us.
okay, I'll just say I've always been interested in Egypt. Actually, I've never been to Egypt. Okay, I still have never been,
Okay,
but
that's nice.
it's one of those places, when you're young, you have places that you think in your mind you'd love to go and visit and things like that. So it's always been one of the places I've wanted to go, and especially becoming Muslim as well. Like when you become Muslim, like it's one of the places that a lot of people will encourage you if you want to learn Arabic. That's like one of the main places to go, because it's especially for women, I think, and families, because if you go to Egypt, from what I've seen with other people and people who've been there that have had the experience, they say like you go to Egypt, you learn, you get yourself from one of these Arabic courses and you learn the stuff, and you're in Egypt, because it's an African country. You live with the people basically. It's easy to like integrate and mix in with the people a bit more than, for example, maybe if you went to some like of the, like for example, Saudi Arabia. People who move there usually, even if they're studying the language, they don't usually get to mix so much with the natives that are there. It's usually like kind of an expat community group or something like that. But with Egypt, you can live a bit more closely with the actual native people.
Mm-hmm.
So it's easier for you to have that practice immediately, even if you're not like, in a full time, for example, class. You get to,
Yeah.
whatever you learn in the class, you can learn, you can practice it outside, but at the same time, obviously there's a difference in the standard of Arabic that you're learning from the one that they talk on the street. But a lot of people who do live in Egypt, they manage to get by with the standard Arabic that they're learning, because obviously Egyptians have their dialect as well, but people pick up the dialect as well because of how life is there. So anyways, I'm digressing because obviously I've never been, so that's not my experience. But yeah, it was always one of the places I wanted to go, being a revert. And even like after getting, because I've been married before, so after getting divorced, it was one of the places I was thinking, oh, I wish I could marry somebody from Egypt, because then I can go to Egypt so that I
Okay,
can,
nice.
so that I can like be learning Arabic there, because I just one of those places I thought I'll be able to fit in and be able to actually achieve some of my goals, inshallah. But it didn't happen anyways, but alhamdulillah. So I've just been in the UK for a long time, and yeah, that's me in Egypt, like my personal kind of feelings towards Egypt, basically.
Yeah, it's very nice, really. And I understand your feeling because I had the same, so I pretty get you. Okay, so you decided that you want to marry someone from Egypt. Okay, so how it actually happened? How did you meet the person,
Okay,
your future husband?
so initially, like, 'cause I've been a single parent for about 12 years, and I had
Mm-hmm.
been looking. You get those online websites that marriage sites and stuff like that. Um, I was, anytime when it came to countries, Egypt would be one of the countries that would select trying to find somebody. But
Yeah.
and that was like early, like when I was like still single, so when I was like still in my early 20s and things like that. But then after a while I was finding like I'm not finding anybody at all, and the online websites, it can be a bit testing and annoying sometimes. So after a while, like I've got children as well, so I kind of got put off the idea of even looking. After I've just thought, forget it. If Allah wants me to find somebody, then he'll he'll put the person like in my way, kind of thing. So for a long time I wasn't really interested in looking for marriage, and I kept my mind open to the idea. So if somebody would say, oh, there's a brother that's looking for marriage, I would, like, look into it, but I wouldn't myself be actively looking. So after I started my podcast, alhamdulillah, like obviously I put myself out there online as having this podcast and everything, and a brother did approach me. A couple of brothers approached me actually, but it's like, you know, sometimes you get brother, they will send you a message and you just think like, you know, unfortunately, you know, some brothers are very respectful, but I think sometimes you get brothers and it's like you can tell when they're just kind of trying to chat you up or something, or I don't know. It's
I
just,
can confirm this.
do you know what I mean? Like, I think most sisters will understand what I mean. I'm not interested in like DMs and stuff like that. Even sisters, like, yeah, I message with sisters if they send me direct message, but I don't entertain brothers. But basically, this particular brother, he sent me a message. And then I was not interested because I just said, like, you know, he said salam alaikum, and I just said, you know, I was trying to ignore him basically. I didn't even respond. Okay. And then what happened is that he shared, like, I have some arts, because I'm an artist. Okay. So I have some arts images on my Facebook. So he shared some of those images. And then I didn't really think anything of it because I'm not very active on Facebook. And after that, then he sent me another message saying assalamu alaikum, and I was just like, okay, so what's up with this guy? Why does he keep messaging, right? like as if to say, like, I must respond, because I know some brothers, they think that if they send you a direct message saying assalamu alaikum, it's like mandatory that you have to respond to them. And that, for me, it's like, well, actually, I don't think it is, because they feel like if you give salam, you have to respond to them as their brothers. But for me, it's just like, well, I don't think we have to. Anyways, then I shared a post. I shared a post on the Facebook with another sister. It must be that she was having a similar experience, not with the same brother, but she basically had this post on Facebook where it said, brothers, please stop DMing me. I don't message brothers. Okay. So then I shared that on my Facebook, right? Because I thought, yeah, this stuff just needs to stop. So I put it there on my Facebook. And then the same brother, he wrote there, well, how do you get to the point of halal if you don't, like, you know, initiate a first message in the first place? So I said, okay, well, fair enough. And when he said to the point of halal, I know that he means obviously marriage, yeah, because that's what, you know, for people who don't know, that's what it means, like, you know, because Muslim men and women generally, he's not supposed to be free mixing, like getting chatty and having this kind of, you know, easy kind of communication, like being overly friendly. So, and I said, okay, fair enough then. So I thought I'll give this guy 5 minutes, okay, because
Good deal.
obviously
That's what happened.
yeah, because obviously he feels that he wants to, you know, he's looking for a wife. So let me just like give him the 5 minutes, and I'll just send him away, because I'm sure that once I tell him about myself, he's not going to be interested. Okay. So I did do the private messages, because obviously, like, I don't want to, nobody's going to do their private conversation on the, you know, on the open Facebook like that, right? Because he did say, like, yeah, you do, you know, if you want to ask personal questions, you can't just openly ask them on Facebook. It's not, you know. So anyways, alhamdulillah, when I was at my house, and I had my family members was with me, so I wasn't like by myself, and I told them like what was happening. So it wasn't, alhamdulillah, it wasn't like a secluded thing where we was, you know, it wasn't just, you know, I mean, just the two of us. I had somebody with me. Anyway, so he sent some messages, was, you know, asking the, you know, the kind of questions that people ask when you're looking to get married to somebody, you know, where, you know, how old are you, and, you know, your marital status, if you've been divorced, for example, things. And I just told him, look, I'm a black woman, I've been married, I've got 2 children, you know, I'm single for this amount of time. Because I know he's Egyptian, and, you know, you do hear things that there's some Arabs, not all of them, but some of them, they don't like, you know, black people or black women, like for marriage specifically. Anyways, they may not be like completely racist, but some of them, if you want to marry into their family, yeah, some of them,
want to white women.
Exactly. Some of them, if you want to marry into their family, that's not what they want, because, you know, a lot of Arabs, unfortunately, and even some, you know, other nationalities as well, they have this perception like they want their children to be as fair and bright as possible, basically. So I told him these things, and he said, oh, well, you know, he goes, he said, well, actually, I prefer a black woman. And I said, well, if you want to marry a black woman, Egypt has a lot of black women there, and you get as well. You have, you've got black Egyptians, you have Nubians as well. They're black,
Yeah, and it's a good one. It's a good answer actually.
Yeah, and that's what I said to him. And I said, so what's your problem? Just I said, go outside
Okay.
and find somebody, because I said I live in the UK, and I said even if we wanted to get married, it's like, well, you're over there and I'm over here, so don't make your life difficult. That's basically what, because I was just talking to him very much like this, yeah, because as I said, when it comes to brothers, I don't be, I'm not very friendly, basically. I'll just talk with them very
Mhm.
blunt, okay?
Yeah, I understand. Yes.
And so he was just like, oh, well, the reason why he can't approach the Nubians necessarily is because, they don't usually mix from outside their culture as well. They usually mostly, they only like their women to marry with Nubians. So it's difficult. So I could understand that as well, And
Mhm.
then he said as well, not only that, but in Egypt in particular, there's a problem now where brothers, they're having difficulty in getting married because the dowry is being made so high for them. They have to buy a lot of gold and all this kind of stuff. Like it's become really expensive. And they also have something in now which is not Islamic at all, which is having these engagements. So they get engaged
Yeah,
before the marriage,
it's the
which
Egyptian tradition. Yes, it has
yeah,
nothing common with Islam. I can confirm this. That's true,
yes,
actually.
subhanallah. So they do that, and when they do the engagement, they have these big parties, and they have to spend like a lot of money, buying the girl gifts and things like that, which isn't even part of the dowry either. So it's like and I've seen this as well, like since that time with certain people, they've done the other Egyptians, they've done this, and then afterwards if the girl's family change their minds, they'll break off the engagement and they'll keep all the things that the man has bought, and he spent all this money, so then he's broke basically and has to still look for another wife again. So subhanallah, so things like that is happening basically, so it is becoming
Yeah.
quite hard. So anyways, he mentioned those things to me, and I know that it's not something that only happens in Egypt, because when you're, especially being from a West African background myself, I know how much money is spent on these kind of things, weddings and funerals, stuff like that. People get crazy about it. So alhamdulillah, I was like, okay, fair enough. So we was talking about, different things, asking each other questions, more questions about, what our plans are in life and all these different things. And, he was talking to me, telling me about his family background. And he was, what I liked is that he was very, very open. And, he asks questions that, he very, in a very respectful kind of way as well. So I could tell from the questions he was asking that he is very serious about marriage, and he's obviously thought about it for a long time, because when I've had meetings with other brothers, I'm not saying they weren't serious, but nobody ever asked me the kind of questions that he'd asked me. So for example, like, when you want to marry a brother, um, people always tell you as a revert as well, they'll tell you, oh, look for somebody who's practicing, look for somebody who's practicing. So
Mhm.
yes, practicing is obviously good, and that's what we want, a Muslim man who prays and, like, he respects the religion, and he tries to practice as best as possible. But there's issues of compatibility as well. So he was asking me questions about myself, so questions that were related to being compatible with a person, you know and he
Mhm.
was telling me, and at the same time he was giving me the information about himself. So even me, like, who was trying to, like, get rid of him anyways, because as I said, I was not interested. I was just thinking, okay, whatever, he's telling me this stuff, and I was just like, yeah, okay then. And he was openly telling me about himself, and then he would ask me, what about me and stuff. So then I would give him information, and so then we started seeing that actually we had things in common and things like that. So yeah,
Okay.
so it kind of went back and forth like that a little bit. And then basically then it came to the point of, I was thinking, okay, well, we've had this conversation now, and I still was trying to not be interested, but I kind of started to feel a bit interested, because I thought, okay, this guy seems quite serious, right? But then
Mhm.
I said, well, obviously, like, if it's going to be something we're going to have to keep having a discussion, I need to get my wali involved. My wali being my guardian, my Islamic guardian, and at the time it was the imam from the masjid where I was living. So I told him about it straight away, and I give him his number as well. He sent his number, so I gave him the imam's number so that they can get in contact with each other. And they was kind of messaging back and forth, but trying to arrange an actual, like a video call or something like that. And that took I think maybe a week or two before the imam had time, because he's very, very busy as well. But in the
Mm.
meantime as well, he gave me his sister's number. He has a sister, and one of them, she actually speaks a little bit of English. But what I did, I had an Egyptian friend, and subhanallah, the way that it worked out was, this Egyptian friend, I haven't seen her for a long time. Okay. And I think as well,
Okay.
I can't remember. I think maybe I didn't even have her phone number. Okay, so I knew her from the masjid because she was a sister who she used to teach my daughter Quran.
Mm-hmm.
So basically, um, I was thinking, like, she came to my mind immediately because I said to myself, well, yes, his sister. He said his sister speaks a little bit of English, and that's good, but I don't want to call his sister and then, we're having difficulty, and questions that I want to ask, she's having difficulty to respond, because he did say that she's not experienced really with using the language. And you know how it is, isn't it? If English is not your first language,
Yeah,
you
yeah.
can speak it, but it can be difficult, especially you want to have more kind of, deeper, like, kind of conversation. So I was thinking about this Egyptian sister. I was thinking, subhanallah, haven't seen her for a long time. The school, like, I was thinking, like, maybe I need to go to the masjid, to the Islamic school, to see if I can find her there to talk to her about this thing. And lo and behold, I went shopping to my usual supermarket where I go and find things. And who do I see? The first person is her. Subhanallah, right in
Mm-hmm.
front of my face. I didn't see her for maybe like a whole year, because Newcastle's very
Oh my
small,
God.
and
Yeah.
she was living kind of on the outer side of Newcastle, because she'd recently moved, but she's still within Newcastle, but like not the central part. So I hadn't seen her for a long time, and because my children had already grown up and graduated from the madrasa already, I wasn't going there, and so I hadn't seen her for a long time. So subhanallah, just by coincidence, I see this woman, she's in my mind, and then lo and behold, Allah just put her in front of me. So
Yeah. Really, it's from Allah.
yeah, and subhanallah,
SubhanAllah, really, it's amazing.
subhanallah. And when she saw me, she was like, "Oh, Samar, I've been looking for you. I've been wondering about you." And I was like, subhanallah. And I said, "Me too. I've been thinking about you and looking for you as well, because I'm also a cupping therapist." So she wanted to have the hijama, the cupping. So because
Mm-hmm.
of that, she had been thinking about me, and she wanted to book me for a session. I said, subhanallah. So look at this. The sister, she's looking for me, and me as well. I'm looking for her. Subhanallah.
Yeah.
Anyways, um, yeah, so I told her, yes, she obviously she can make an appointment. And then I told her immediately, like, the situation, what's happened, that, it's an Egyptian brother, he's approached me, and he gave me his sister's number, and, he wanted me to contact her so I can, like, discuss more about, whatever I want to ask about him and this stuff. And he said, yes, yes, no problem. I'll help you. So we arranged the day when she was available, and I went to her house. And
Mm-hmm.
yeah, so we called the sister, and alhamdulillah, so she helped me to speak to her. And it was just as well that I found it, because the sister also, she was very shy, on the phone and stuff. But when she knew that I was with my Egyptian friend, she felt more comfortable to be able to talk, and, alhamdulillah, I asked as many questions as possible. She was telling me all the information she can about her brother, what he does, about their family and stuff, these things. So, and
Yeah, yeah.
stuff that, some things that obviously about their family he'd already told me. And Hamda, I could see that obviously, like, she's basically saying pretty much the same things. And, she told me how he is, like, with the rest of his family members, how he treats them, how he's, like, with his nieces and nephews, all this kind of stuff. Because I had asked him, obviously,
Mm-hmm.
because I've got children, I wanted to ask him, like, what kind of man is he when it comes to, like, kids and this kind of things, because
Yeah,
obviously
of
that's
course.
important. And yeah, alhamdulillah. So we had that conversation, and it was very nice. And the sister was very nice, and mashallah, it's from that time I kept messaging her. We didn't have big conversations, obviously, because as I said, her English is limited and my Arabic is like zero pretty much. So we would still message each other between us, which was nice. And I liked that, because it was like showing that she's supporting her brother and looking for a wife or whatever, and this thing. So it's good to have family, that the family shows interest, at least, alhamdulillah. So
Mm-hmm.
and as well, I had given him my brother's number. So yeah, my family, they're non-Muslim, but still, like, I gave him my brother's number because I know my brother, he doesn't like a lot of people. So I said, if
Okay.
my brother speaks to him and he likes him, then that will be a good thing, because it means
Yeah,
that,
it will be something.
you know what I mean. yeah, so I did that, and they didn't manage to talk for very long because I think my brother was at work, and then that day the connection hadn't been great, but they did talk to each other for a little bit. And my brother was saying, well, from what he's seen, like he sounds like, okay and stuff or whatever. And I was just like, all right. So then that was still before the imam had managed to speak to him like properly. So it was after that, maybe a few days later, that, the appointment with the imam, the brother had the appointment with the imam, and they spoke and everything. And alhamdulillah, it went good. And then like basically like, the imam, he called me back and he spoke to me and everything, because alhamdulillah, the imam, he speaks Arabic too. So we spoke with him like in Arabic and everything. And yeah, so, and that was kind of basically it. Like, the imam was asking me, do you want to go ahead with, further with this? And, we both prayed istikhara, that's the prayer that you make when you want to make a serious decision, like, um, so basically, yeah, like we just got married, and it was all that time, it was 1 month.
Okay. Thank you for all the story. It's really amazing. I have to admit that you manage it really amazing way. I never listened such a story like yours before, really. Like, really Islamic way you did it, and you was really careful and everything. Like I'm really like wow, like I'm stunned now, you know?
Alhamdulillah. And alhamdulillah, Allah made it easy, because like as I said, like what I found strange as well is that I'm not somebody who spends much time on Facebook. I literally only used it that time because of my podcast. That's why I went on there, so I could share information about the podcast to get, people, audience. And him as well, he doesn't spend a lot of time on Facebook. So I found it like it was a bit of a coincidence that, we just happened to kind of be there that time, to kind of,
Yeah.
you see what I'm saying? So yeah, it just came like that. And yeah, alhamdulillah. And he was, and as I said, some brothers, they get on and it's like they just want to be very chatty and, this kind of
Yeah.
thing. But he wasn't like that. I could tell he was very serious, and, he was, he wasn't inappropriate in any kind of way. And you know what? He never asked to see me, not once, as well.
SubhanAllah.
As being like,
That's really rare.
being in Niqabi. And the thing is, for me, like when I'd been on the marital websites previously, people, like the first question brothers will ask, one of the first questions is, can they see you? And I don't mind that necessarily, because for me, if you see me and you don't find me attractive, then yeah, we can just end the conversation. We don't need to like start getting to know each other, and then afterwards you ask to see me and then you don't like me, kind of thing. But it wasn't like that with my husband, because I don't know, like I never brought the subject up, I thought I was thinking about it, but I was just thinking like, why didn't he ask to see me yet? Like I was waiting for him to say something about it, but he never did. And then I was just thinking like, why is that? And then the day that he was going to speak to my dad, yeah, we'd already agreed with the imam that we're going to do the marriage, and we'd set the date for the nikah, because we was going to do it online. Obviously, we're in 2 different countries. Okay. So the day that we decided, like, because my dad was coming to visit, so I said, well, when my dad comes, you need to speak to him as well, because obviously if we've decided that we want to get married, you have to obviously talk to my dad too, right? And I told my dad about it, and my dad's like, he kind of said, so he was a bit angry, actually. Not that I was looking to get married, but because previously brothers had, anytime a brother had like approached for marriage, like through another brother from the masjid, I always take my dad to these meetings. And subhanallah, like often, like it really, I think it maybe been within the last year, I'd happened to have spoken to 2 different brothers, okay, from 2 different ethnic backgrounds as well. So it's like, variety of people. But my dad had come with me, and they didn't go through in the end. Basically, the brothers didn't want to continue after we'd had quite good meetings. Okay, so it was only 1 meeting, but it was a good meeting, we thought, anyways. And then afterwards, the brother would send a message, through the imam or through the brother from the Islamic Center, saying, oh, he doesn't want to continue with this, or because he doesn't think we're compatible, whatever. So my dad, he was just like, oh, not another idiot that's going to come to turn down my beautiful daughter. And I was just like, okay, I
can understand.
It's like, well, no, not exactly. Like, I think I said, this is a bit different. I said, I've been speaking to him, and he's spoken with the imam. I've spoken to his family as well. And so my dad was like, okay, my dad wanted to know if he needed to leave the house. And I was just like, well, no, because he's actually in Egypt. So we're just going to have the meeting online. So he's like, fine. So the next day, we had the meeting, and the brother, he said to me, he's like, oh well, actually I do have a right to see you, you know that. And I said, yeah, I know, but you never asked me, so I didn't say anything because I was wondering why you haven't asked, so I wasn't going to say anything. And I said, well, since you're going to talk with my dad, then you can see me while we're having the video call. So when I had the video call with him and my dad that time, like, he spoke to my dad first, obviously, and then after he spoke to my dad seemed to really like him. Okay, and my dad doesn't like many people either. But anyway, so
That's
subhanallah.
very good. Okay,
Yes. So
subhanallah,
yeah, he
really.
seemed to really like him. And then so when they finished having their like discussion and everything, because my dad especially, obviously he's very protective over his grandchildren, so he was asking a lot of questions like relating to that as well. So
Yeah, of course, you're his daughter, you're a
yeah,
beautiful
exactly.
daughter, then you
Yeah, yeah,
must be
alhamdulillah.
protective.
So I let him do his African daddy stuff, right? So
Yeah.
he did all those kind of questions with him. And when they finished talking, then my dad called me, and that time I had my hijab on, but yeah, I didn't have my niqab that time. So that time he saw me for the first time, and yeah, that
Mm.
was nice. So yeah,
And everything went fine,
yeah,
right?
alhamdulillah, he was very happy when he saw me, like literally. Yeah. So,
Alhamdulillah.
yeah.
Okay, that's amazing. Well, and actually, when did you meet together in the real life,
We still
Because
haven't.
you met online. You still have
We
Oh,
still haven't. We're still waiting because I'm in Ghana now, and we've been waiting to get his visa. And subhanallah, like, his visa, he made application twice. Okay, for
okay.
his visa. And what happened the first time? That subhanallah, he went to the embassy in Egypt. Okay, in Cairo, it's the Ghanaian embassy. And
Mm-hmm.
actually, Ghana, the Egyptians. This is I'm telling you information that a lot of people do not know. Okay, so like, I don't know, subhanallah. Anyways, he went to the Ghanaian embassy in Egypt. And when he went there, he got the application form, and the lady there, she's Egyptian, she's not Ghanaian. So he spoke to her in English anyways, but yeah, she's Egyptian. And basically he got the form and he left, and he came back with the form completed. He had his all the information, that documents that he needed. You need to show your bank statement and all these other different things, invitation letter. He had all this stuff with him. The woman there, the second time, she took a look at it, and she said, oh, is this the only money you've got in your bank account? And she told him, oh, you need to show that you have 50,000 Egyptian pounds. So after that, then he went back again. Instead of submitting the application, he took it back, and he went again to put more money into his account, and then came back with another statement. Because the Ghanaian embassy is only open 2 days a week there, so it's Tuesdays and Thursdays. So if you miss,
Yeah.
if obviously, like, when you miss something, you have to wait a few days again before you can go back to, you know. So he went
Mm-hmm.
again, and he submitted the application. She told him it's going to take 2 weeks, and so he waited for the 2 weeks to hear anything. He didn't hear nothing. Okay. So he waited a little bit more to see, okay, maybe they're going to call. No, actually, sorry, no, he didn't. He waited 2 weeks, and then he decided he hasn't had anything. So he said, let me go and see. He went to the embassy again. And when he got there, he asked the lady, he said, I've made an application 2 weeks ago about applying for a visa for Ghana. And she said, oh, we don't have any such application here. That's what she said to him. Right. And it's the same woman.
Okay.
Yeah, it's the same woman that he's spoken to the first time. Yeah, and both times it's the same woman. It's not somebody different. And then he said, yes, but I handed you my application and you took it. And obviously he give you, when you apply for a visa, you have to give them your passport as well. So then she started looking in the desk, and his application was there in the desk, and she gave him back his passports. And that was it. And she said,
Mm-hmm.
oh, we'll call you. That's what she said to him, we'll call you. Well, she didn't call. So he went back another maybe 2-3 weeks later to see what is going on. When he went there, she wasn't there that day. And he asked a Ghanaian man who happened to be working in there what happened to his application. He gave his name and everything. And the Ghanaian guy, he went and had a look. And then he came back and he said, oh, your application was rejected from Ghana. And so when he told me that, I said that doesn't make any sense because Ghanaians don't really reject people from anything. You know, he's not like, he doesn't have any criminal record or anything like that. Do you know what I mean? He's just a regular person. Yes. So I was thinking this doesn't
Mm-hmm.
make any sense. Like, why would it be rejected? And not only that, but because the lady had given back his can you hear me?
Yes, yes, I'm with you.
Yes, because the woman had given him back his passport previously. I said, I'm sure she must have just thrown your application away because how can your application even be looked at if you don't have your passport there? She obviously wasn't looking at it. And as well, the previous times when he'd been there, she was asking him questions like, oh, where did you meet this girl? And, you know, does your family
Yes, they
accept
do
that
it.
does your
Mm-hmm.
family accept that you've married this woman? And, you know, does her family, do they accept you? And these things. So all these kind of questions she was asking him, which don't have anything to do with the application actually, because it's not like a spouse visa or anything like that. They have like a tourist visa or a business one, and he was applying for the tourist one, and you do need that invitation from
Oh,
somebody.
no, dear, I can tell you from my experience because I did the same. I experienced the same, okay, when me and my husband went to Europe. So we was in the same process exactly. And they really ask very, very private questions. Really,
Mhm.
they even asked me what we was eating yesterday for lunch, okay? Or
Subhanallah.
really, really detailed questions. I was like the same as you, like why they know it, like for what? But the thing which I want to tell you, probably you will need to come to Egypt first. That's how it works, when the man apply for himself, so mostly they refuse. But if the wife is with him and they apply together, so they make it like more easier because they see you both.
Subhanallah. Subhanallah. Well, anyways, I'll tell you what we've tried now because he did apply again after that because the Ghanaian man told him, oh, you need to make another application. So this time he did apply again, and this time I've got a marriage certificate from Ghana. So I went to
Okay.
the masjid here, and they gave me a marriage certificate. So I put that into the application as well. And the woman, she called me from the embassy and she asked me, oh, do you know him? How do you know him? And this and that. And I said, look, yes, he's my husband. We did the marriage online, and you know, we've been waiting for him to come. So I felt excited that she's called me because she never called me before to ask anything, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And already we had another friend as a reference on his application, which she didn't call. But anyways, so he went again after 2 weeks, and because obviously they didn't bother to call him to tell him anything. When he went there the second time, she told him, "Oh, the application is rejected." And when he asked her why is it being rejected, she said, "Oh, because we don't accept online marriages here." That's what she said.
Mm-hmm.
Even though in Ghana, online marriage is acceptable, like it's a valid marriage, okay? Because even here, like we have a lot of traditional marriage, and that is as well accepted here as being married, even if you don't have a certificate. So
Okay.
so I said like this is getting ridiculous now. So and she didn't, and also because my husband has a beard, she didn't seem to like the fact that he has a beard. So she was asking her why has he got this beard and stuff like that. She asked him, oh, are you Salafi? You know, which, you know, in Egypt, obviously if you call somebody Salafi, it's basically telling them that they're an extremist. You know what I mean? So that's how they see it, isn't it? um
Mm-hmm.
so he told her no. And yeah, so I decided, well, from me and my family we've been getting really like annoyed here basically. So he said like, you know, this woman, she seems to be like, you know, prejudiced or something or whatever. She doesn't has a problem with him. So let's try to apply from our side here. So I went to the embassy here, and we basically, you can do like an emergency visa. So
Yeah.
but that costs $300. So we made an application for that for him. So basically, if that goes through, and this is like literally where we are right now, this is the process we're in right now. I'm still waiting to hear if that has gone through. So if that goes through, then he will get like a digital copy of visa, which he will be able to use to get on the flight and stuff. And then when he gets to the airport, I will have the hard copy visa that to give him to put into his passport, inshallah. So that's basically it.
So yeah, inshallah, I hope it will work really.
Allah, I hope so.
We finally to meet.
I hope so.
Yeah, we are
Because,
living.
yeah, because they said the thing is, the immigration guy, he said that the way they do it here, like obviously I've paid the money, but he said the money will only be like accepted if they're going to accept the visa. So inshallah, if they decide they don't want to accept it for any reason, then I will still get the money back. So at least inshallah, the money wouldn't be lost. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, inshallah,
I
dear,
suppose one
really.
good thing.
Hopefully. But if it will not work, so really, maybe you have to reconsider that you will come to Egypt first,
Exactly,
just
and
for the sake of your
that's
health.
going to be difficult because still I need to apply for visa, and the problem with that is because I've been married before, I need much more documentation with the whole marriage process as well. That's another thing, which is a lot for me as well. So that's
Oh, wait, just a basic question. You told that you were in UK, right? So why you
yes,
cannot come to Egypt like even for holiday, for tourist? Why not?
yes, because of Corona.
Oh yeah, I always forget this
Yeah,
point that we are in
because
difficult time.
that's what we tried to do that last year. That was the first thing. I was trying to go to Egypt from the UK since last year, but because of the
Mm-hmm.
COVID, and obviously, like as I said, I've been married before, and to go there to do the marriage. When I get if I was to get to Cairo as a UK citizen, I have to go to the British embassy in Cairo and sign this affirmation statement, even though I have other documents that I have to bring with me from the UK showing that I'm free to be married and all this kind of thing, that my divorce is, legalized or God knows whatever else. All this so much documentation I had to have,
Mm-hmm.
and it cost money, all of it. Then I had to book an appointment before booking my flight to Egypt. I have to book an appointment at the British Embassy because you can't just go into the British Embassy when you feel like it. You have to have an appointment to go in there, and I have to book from the UK. But when I tried to do that, for the time that I would be able to fly to Egypt, it said that the embassy was closed and it was going to be closed for 6 months.
Oh,
So there was no way for me to be able
my,
to go, basically. So that's why I didn't go to Egypt, because
my
my
God.
mom she was already there to give me the money so I can go and do all these things, but it just didn't work out.
Hmm.
So that's basically what happened. So it's been a very long process, Apollo. Yeah.
Yeah, that's really horrible. I can't imagine it here. It's really difficult, really difficult.
Yeah.
But you are really strong. It's the test for. I believe this is the
Of
test
course,
of the
and
marriage.
subhanallah, I've heard a lot of stories, even with other sisters who even are marrying people from their own countries, but they're living in the UK, and it's taken them a year or 2 years, even
Yeah.
3 years, to just to be able to get them in, to come to the UK or wherever it was. So alhamdulillah, I know that this is like, it can be like
Mm,
this, when you marry somebody in a different country, that's just, you know, it's just what you have to be
yeah.
prepared to deal with,
It's
basically.
always difficult.
Yeah.
Yes, there's always some problem that you have to face. Anyway, anytime you are in Egypt, we have to meet. Okay, you can come to
Of
my home anytime
course,
if you
absolutely. Because I told him if anything goes crazy, that I need to actually we need to go to Alexandria. If we're gonna live in
want.
Egypt, I told him I don't want to live in Cairo. I want to live in Alex, because I said I'm not, the look of Cairo does not appeal to me. Sorry, sister, I'm getting a call. I need to take this call because I think it is related to my husband's visa. I'm gonna mute my
Yeah.
microphone, and
Okay. Okay.
subhanallah, sis,
Mhm.
my
I'm with you.
husband's visa's ready. They've done it.
Wow, it's a big congratulations, really. That's
Alhamdulillah.
so nice. In our podcast, it happened. Really, I'm so happy for you, dear.
Subhanallah,
Alhamdulillah.
subhanallah, literally, like, oh my gosh. He said I can collect it tomorrow morning. Subhanallah. That's just great.
Wow. Yeah.
Yes.
You have to tell me how did you meet and what happened after, okay? Don't forget
Subhanallah.
about it.
Subhanallah. Wow. Wow.
I'm so happy
Alhamdulillah.
for you, dear. So happy
Alhamdulillah.
for you.
Alhamdulillah. That's great. Yeah, Alhamdulillah.
Yeah. Alhamdulillah for everything, dear.
Wow. I'm so happy now. Subhanallah. Wow.
Yeah, I can feel it.
Yes.
I'm so happy. Really. It's
Alhamdulillah.
amazing news.
I know. Subhanallah. And just while we're talking about the whole thing as well,
Yeah, exactly. In the time.
I've literally told the whole story, so you're getting this live update right in the middle of the podcast.
That Allah heard our prayers, so it happened.
Alhamdulillah, Alhamdulillah, Alhamdulillah. So he just needs to get here now. So we'll see, inshallah.
Yeah,
Inshallah, it goes
that's the
smooth.
easy part. Hopefully, it will be already easy.
Inshallah,
Inshallah.
Alhamdulillah.
Okay, dear, if you can still hear back, I wanted to still ask you what about his mother, if she knows you, or did you
Well,
meet her?
both of his parents have passed away some few years ago,
Oh,
actually. Yeah,
okay.
yeah. So
Sorry for it.
it's just him and his siblings, but he's one of the youngest siblings as well. So all of his older siblings are married. So it was just him and his younger sibling that weren't married yet. So
Hmm.
yeah,
So
alhamdulillah.
okay, and do you have some plans together? Did you discuss some plan together, like where you will live, how you will live, if you will have another children, for example, and like these
Yes,
stuffs?
definitely. We want to have children, inshallah. Inshallah. We have plans. I always wanted to have a big family, so alhamdulillah.
Yeah, so
Yeah,
it will be a very beautiful life, I believe.
inshallah.
Okay, sister, it's from my side, it's everything what I needed to ask you, and
Alhamdulillah.
I'm really so happy for you. So I will leave you now to celebrate with you, with your
Barakallahu
family.
feekum. Thank you so much.